Hi, welcome to Habas Kitchen. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make our chili con lentil. So this recipe is a vegan version of that classic Mexican dish. Here we replace the usual beef mince with red lentils. We've got plenty of veg, so there's lots of sort of plant-based goodness there. We've got some good spices and then plenty of protein from the beans and the lentils. So talking about the ingredients, let's go into those now. So there's quite a long list to work with today, starting with 1 large onion, 2 red peppers, 3 cloves of garlic, either 1 jalapeno finely chopped or just a teaspoon of crushed chilies, and then a minimum of a tablespoon of chili powder, obviously use more if you like it spicier, and then 2 tablespoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. Then we're going to use 2 400-gram tins of chopped tomatoes and 3 tablespoons of tomato puree. Now for the lentils, it's 1 cup of uncooked lentils, which is about 200 grams. You can use tins, you'll need 2 of those and you'll have to add them at the same time as these beans. And there's 2 tins of beans, that's 400-gram tins. Any beans you want are fine. I'm going to be using black beans. Then to finish, just 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar and a 300-gram tin of sweet corn. Now for the coconut sugar, you can replace it with maple syrup if you like. So other than those ingredients, we're going to obviously need salt and pepper to season, some coconut oil for the sautéing, and your largest stock pot. So first thing to do is to chop some vegetables. Starting with the onion. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of roughly dice the onion there. Okay, that's that done nice and quick. So the same with the garlic. Just sort of roughly chop it. You can always crush it if you like. Okay, that's the onions and the garlic ready to go on. So I'm going to just start heating up my stock pot now. So initially just keep the heat to sort of medium and just put a tablespoon of coconut oil in there. I'm just going to put the onions and garlic straight in there because that won't take long to heat up. And then while they're sautéing for sort of 2 or 3 minutes, we can just chop the peppers as well. So for the peppers, I know I said 2 red, but obviously you can use whatever you've got in your fridge. It's always sort of nice to add a bit of colour anyway. I just prefer the flavour that the red peppers give, and I just like to stick to that, sort of keep it simple. But what I'm going to do is just again roughly chop these, so they're going to be chopped into squares, and you can see as well that I'm de-seeding them. Now, if you're using a jalapeno, you should put that in at this point as well, so that needs to be finely chopped, seeded or unseeded, up to you, and that will go in at the same time as these peppers. Okay, that's the peppers ready to go in. And give that one a quick stir. I'm going to put those straight in. So the onions and garlic have been in a couple of minutes now. And just give that a good stir again. Also, as I said, I'm using crushed chilies, and it's just a teaspoon. So that all needs to be sautéed just for a further sort of 2 or 3 minutes. You're waiting for everything to soften. And once you're happy that they're sort of softened enough, we can start adding some spices. So for the chili powder and cumin, what I like to do is just add half now and then add half once everything else is in, so that the beans also start to absorb some of the spices. So it's just half a tablespoon of chili powder to start with. And 1 tablespoon of cumin. So the other half a tablespoon and tablespoon of cumin will go in later. So give that a quick stir. And then we can add the 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. Now smoked paprika works so well with this chili. It really brings it to life. It gives a nice sort of smokiness and sort of depth to the flavour. And it really does stand out. You can tell you've added it. When you're eating the chili, you can definitely tell you've added the smoked paprika. Okay, so you don't need to do too much with that. It's just a very quick stir, because what we're going to do now is add the chopped tomatoes. So obviously they're full of fluid as well. That'll start spreading everything around. So straight in there. I'm going to save those tins because we're going to use those to add some water for the lentils. So stir those chopped tomatoes in. And just spread the onions, peppers and garlic around along with the spices. Really just combining it all at this stage. So also the tomato puree. Which is 3 tablespoons. So this will really sort of thicken it up. So again, just stir that. With this, it's always best to stir it after you add any ingredients. So rather than to add it all and then stir it almost as you're adding the ingredients, just so that everything combines more easily. Okay, so just before we put some water in there, I'm going to just add a little bit of salt and pepper, not too much, just a very light seasoning. Okay, that's that. So as I said, for the chopped tomato tins, obviously you need to rinse these out anyway, so what I'm going to do is just fill both of them with water, tip all of that in. So you should be aiming to add 2 to 2.5 cups of water at this point, and this is so that we can add the lentils and they'll then start to absorb all of that fluid. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to take the heat up a little bit, bring that up to a boil just before adding the lentils. So I am just stirring that just as I'm bringing it to the boil. Okay, so for the lentils, as I said, it's 1 cup, 200 grams, and these are uncooked. So if you're using 2 tins of lentils, which are obviously already cooked, you won't need to sort of do this next stage. You'll need to add the lentils at the same time as the beans. So just stir those lentils through, drop the heat to a simmer, cover it as well, and leave that to simmer for 15 to 20 minutes or until the red lentils have started to sort of tenderise. Okay, so that's been simmering for about 20 minutes now. So I can see that the lentils have really sort of bulked up and they're almost done. They don't need to be sort of completely cooked at this point because we've still got a little bit longer to go. But what we are going to do is start adding the beans and the remainder of the spices. So I'm going to drain the beans first. Okay, so they're drained and rinsed, and they're going straight into the pot, along with the second half a tablespoon of chili powder, and the second tablespoon of cumin. That's all in there, so I'm going to give that a quick stir. I'm going to leave it uncovered now because we want the fluid to start reducing and thickening up. So I'm stirring those beans through. And two more things to add. That's the 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar or maple syrup or any other syrup if you're using that instead. And then the sweet corn. So these aren't in water, so they can just go straight in. And all we're going to do now is just give that one final stir. And as I said, leave that uncovered. I'm going to leave it for another 15 to 20 minutes. Now you will find with this you'll have to keep stirring it, and you might just have to add a little bit more water. It depends on how absorbent your lentils are. I usually find I don't need to, but it's not the end of the world if you do. So just keep an eye on it, keep it stirring, make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. But generally you're 15 to 20 minutes away from having chilli ready to eat. So you can see that the liquid is reduced nicely and the chilli is thickened up really well. So I'm going to now take that off the heat and just let it cool down for sort of 10 minutes or so before serving. You can also chill it for 3 to 4 days, or you can freeze it and save it for another time. So I've got these 2 bowls ready to go with some rice. Obviously you can serve it with a number of different things, such as jacket potatoes. You can put it in a wrap and make a burrito, or you can serve it with tortilla chips. The other thing it's great for is meal prep. Obviously you can make it at the start of the week and it will give you sort of 6 generous dinners or maybe sort of 8 lunches. And one other thing is, if you find that it's too hot and spicy, one thing you can do to cool it down is to add some full fat coconut milk, the type that you buy in the tins. Just a sort of creamy section at the top of that. That will cool it down in the same way that sour cream would. And one final tip, and this is very important, if you're making this to take to a party or a family gathering or anything like that, definitely make more than what you think you'll need, because it will be very popular. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe. Leave any feedback in the comment section down below. I'll see you in another video.